my good friend, the bald
What?
Colby Joyner.
You forgot beautiful.
Oh, that was a better beginning than the other one we rehearsed.
That was way better than the other one we heard. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. That's all. That's the best way I could say it. I'm blessed.
When I've seen you like 2 or 3 times, when you come up, you just smile at me like everything's good, life's good.
Life's
It's
good.
great.
There's
Yeah.
no complaints.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're here. We're
That's
jumping.
not true. Because I bet you have some complaints when it comes to technology and marketing.
I mean, yes. Are we supposed to talk about that at NADA, or is that like afterwards in the little round table?
Well, I think one of the problems is we don't talk about it enough at NADA.
Yeah.
At NADA. Yeah, exactly. What's the thing?
What's your
that's
beef,
missing?
man?
Where's
Why are you
the
so
gap?
grumpy all the time?
Why
I
are you
know.
grumpy? You're
man.
like, we're so chill. Why are you grumpy?
Honestly, like that biggest beef that I have is the need to have 18 different software platforms to go and inspect this and look at this and call out of here and text out of here and do a video out of there. And it's like, why can't we just have one thing I log in and it just works and I can report out of it and it all talks to each other and it's fine. That would just make my life 10 times easier.
Just so much easier,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Instead of living in
What do you
spreadsheet
think?
hell.
I mean, you know all the players in
You're good at
in the arena. Like, what do you think the realistic timeline of having something that, you know, we've got some players that are kind of starting to claim that, but what do you think the realistic timeline is for our industry to be able to have probably not just one, but 2 or 3 places that dealers can go based on their processes to make something like that happen?
that works,
Yeah.
10 years.
Wow. That's really what you see, yeah.
It's 10 years.
So what's the blocker?
So think about it this way, like what I've been noticing around is most of the demos that we've done, because we have a lot of people from the group here, most of the demos that we've done, they've talked a lot about service. Mm-hmm. When did service become that big tech side player of like trying to reach out right and trying to do all this? That was in 2020.
Yep.
It's 2024, and now we're seeing products that have this service focus. And that's just a little small piece.
Little piece.
How
right.
long is it going to take to get 2 or 3 or 4 other big players that have an all-encompass system that's like, hey, here you go. You don't have to have multiple logins. You log into one place and you have whatever tabs based on your job level or your title or whatever. It's going to be 10 years. I would say at least 10 years.
I think he's a realist.
That's real.
Yeah.
He
Well,
is a
look,
realist.
it's either that or we're going to see a big influx of out-of-automotive companies come into automotive, seeing that there's a gap there.
I think
Yeah.
that's a real
Yeah.
that's a real truth. Like, I think that come this time next year, NADA, we're not just going to see new entrants into auto space, like new technology companies. We're probably going to be walking around going, "Huh, I didn't know they served auto." Right?
Yeah.
I think we're going to see
They're
that.
like, we didn't
in the next
until
year.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a wild proposition. Like,
But look-
watch Salesforce and HubSpot, and I mean, Telium is already
Well,
here.
I was just
right?
going to mention Telium. Like,
Yep.
that's one of the things I know that we're going to go look at. But the main purpose is they were doing this outside. They saw the gap here, they came in here, and now are doing it. So it's not everybody here is trying to build and catch up and say, hey, this is something we want to do. They were like, okay, we did it, and we can come over
Now
here
we
and just
do
do
it
it over
here.
here.
Yeah.
So it's
All right, so minding the gap, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a gap in what desired state is and what current state is. Where is your focus on kind of minding that gap in technology and people and process?
in reality, it's a reporting thing. And I know, like, I'm a marketing guy. Reports are, I live and die by the reports, but it's amalgamating all the data, bringing it all in and being able to run from the data point as your single source, not from each individual thing of how this is going. Because if you have the ability to look at data like you're reading a book, then it tells you where you need to go focus and change the process. So if you bring all the data in and you have this one dashboard, this one, like I live in spreadsheet hell right now because of that, but if you bring it all in one place, it's easy to just say, okay, boop, that's the spot, we need to focus on this, you make that adjustment. That's
Yeah.
the easiest way to mind the
I think
gap.
that's a great first step, is like, how do we get all of the data at least coming into the same spot so that we can say, all right, this is what's happening wholesale level at my organization, and I can make decisions in these individual platforms based on this aggregated data set.
It's like a middle step, a middle target step.
Yep.
Can we have everything in one place in the same format?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is too, like when you're looking at the data, like we're putting some stuff together internally at the group, is understanding benchmarks in the industry, but then also having the understanding that just because they're benchmarks in the industry doesn't mean that's our benchmarks.
That should be an acceptable benchmark.
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
hey, what are our, like, now that we know what a general benchmark is, what do we want it to be? Do we want to be
Right.
higher or lower? I mean, depending on what type of OEM we are, how many stores we have, how much money we're spending, like, what do we want it to be? And then we
Man.
target it there. We don't have to be like every other group, because then we'll be like every other group.
How do you go about approaching that though? Figuring out what it is that should be your benchmark.
Data. I mean, it like, and looking at and trying to create data points or KPIs that don't exist, that
Yep.
somebody hadn't really thought about.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's this and this, and you divide it by this, and how many of this, and you get this new KPI, and then there you run that KPI, and if it looks like it's running well, then you work it backwards, and then you then can figure out what the other benchmarks are on the things that everybody else may be higher or lower.
Yeah, I think half of like reporting to me is just always measuring the same thing the same way, right? And even if you're only doing it hyper locally at the dealership or dealer group level, like if you have a good understanding of what your benchmark is, and you can measure it against yourself year over year, month over month, week over week, day over day, then you can make trajectory changes based on your personal benchmark. And so I think that is a great opportunity. Colby, what are you hopeful for in 2024 for our industry? It's a big question, I know.
Yeah,
You're like, give me a deep breath here.
So I will tell you this: we've been doing leadership and stuff and training within the organization, and what we decided 2024 was the year of clarity, right? I'm hoping for clarity. I don't want a grayed out, this is kind of what it is, or it kind of looks like this, or yeah, we can do that, or I want clarity. Just hit me straight. This is what it is. This is how it needs to be. There's a saying, kindness is clarity, right? So just be clear.
Yeah.
Clear on your expectations, clear on your abilities, your bandwidth. If you're clear on all of that, everybody's on the same page, and then you start to work together better.
Sounds like organizational health being the most important thing. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
data or technology you
You
have.
can have star players on a team, but if they fight in the locker room, or if they don't understand the plays in the same way, if they haven't repeatedly practiced the same way every single time, it's going to go to crap.
I think at the end of NFL season, there are quite a few people who understand the reality of that in a real clean way.
I know. I will just give you a little, just give you a little cry.
Did we just go a little left there?
Yeah, it was a little sideways, yeah. Well, Colby, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. Always exciting to see what you're doing. Can't wait to hear what you figure out on the data side. And we'll probably talk to you soon.
It'll be fun. I always share, so let's
Awesome.
have fun.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Colby.
it.
Appreciate it.